Welcome back to AP World History, or excuse me, AP US History. We're going to be looking at life in the 1950s. What was it like? What did people enjoy doing? What were some of their fears, aspirations? In terms of the 1950s, we kind of get a profile here. The GI Bill was introduced and passed, which gave money to soldiers so that they could go to college or some trade school after they got out of the military. The bill was in response to fears for massive unemployment. If you remember, there were 16 million people in uniform during World War II, and they all have to be reabsorbed into American economy. The Veterans Administration established guaranteed loans to buy homes, farms, and small businesses for veterans returning from World War II. The baby boom is certainly a part of the 50s. In fact, I am considered a baby boomer. I was born in 1951. In 1950s, population grew by 28%. About 20 million more babies are born between 1946 to 1961 as compared to 1931 through 1946. Of course, during the Great Depression, people were afraid to have children because they were afraid that they wouldn't be able to feed them or take care of them. This was unprecedented population growth. This shows a picture of a typical American family. Mother staying home and taking care of the kids. One visitor came to America and said, well, geez, it looks like a lot of young women are pregnant, and wherever you look, it seems to be that way. And then you can see on this chart that the 1950s certainly was a time when people wanted to have children. A baby born every 7 seconds. Dr. Benjamin Spock was supposed to be the guru, the authority on raising children. Of course, he didn't have any of his own, so he could tell other people how to raise children. More people are going to be enrolled in school because of this baby boom. And this baby boom is now getting to retirement age, and so we're putting a burden on the Social Security system, and you'll be paying into it, most of you, for the next 40 or 50 years. And I want to say thank you in advance for helping me during my retirement years. The 1950s to the 1970s was called the affluent society because people's income was increasing. People had more disposable income to buy cars and television and gadgets. People were able to buy homes. America enjoyed about 40% of the world's wealth. 60% of Americans owned homes in the 1950s as compared to 20% in the 1920s. This boom was fueled partly by the war industry, and then after the war's over, continuing to build armament to fight the Soviets. One thing that America had was cheap energy, particularly coal, and that was used for the production of electricity. Consumerism mushroomed in America. People wanted to buy stuff to make their lives more enjoyable. The diner's card was first introduced, the first credit card, in 1950, and we take that for granted, but certainly this is a new innovation. Buy and pay at the end of the month. Well, or pay longer than that. I would warn you against owning credit cards and abusing them. You might be a slave to credit cards for the rest of your life. Certainly, advertisement is going to target this baby boom. New brands, clothing, shelter are going to be promoted because they see these group of young people as consumers in the future. Of course, consumerism. We looked at Tupperware. It became a household favorite. Black and white TV, and eventually we'll switch to color. Transistor radios are going to come into vogue. People are going to buy things on credit. Middle class seems to double during this time. One of the phenomena that happens is that people leave the cities and grow and go to the suburbs, and it's going to grow 6 times faster. It's going to be where people want to live outside the city. Having a picket fence and a front yard and a backyard for barbecues and neighbors, and not such a bad dream. More and more women are entering the workforce due to their introduction in World War II, but there are certainly a number of women staying home and raising their children. Levittown, this was the American dream. 1949, this William Levitt, he was a contractor, could build 150 homes per week, and for a mere $8,000 you could move into one with $60 a month payments and no money down. And this showed a floor plan of a typical Levitt home. In terms of population distribution, you can see that the real winner is going to be suburban areas. The rural areas, small towns, are going to decrease. Cities are going to decrease or stay the same. But a lot of Americans are going to escape to the suburbs, according to the census. There were some popular TV programs that I watched: Donna Reed Show, Leave It to Beaver, Father Knows Best, promoting. All these were pretty generic sitcoms promoting the American way, good wholesome values. If you notice, you don't see any African Americans or any minorities on TV. It's mostly, well, strictly white actors and actresses. The watchword for this period is conservatism, complacency, and contentment, or anxiety, alienation, and social unrest, and these are going to be for minority groups within America. Then, not everybody is experiencing this prosperity and moving to the suburbs. Some people are trapped in their certain areas where they can't seem to escape. Certainly, automation is going to play a part in reducing the workforce, and particularly blue-collar workers. More and more people are going to go to white-collar workers, that is, working in offices. The first computers, the Mark I, 1944. The first IBM mainframe in 1951. Certainly, there was corporate consolidation during this time. 600 corporations control about 50% of the companies in America, and they control 53% of the wealth. Cold War buildup. Why? Because we're trying to fight the commies. The changing workplace. The man in the gray flannel suit seemed to symbolize this new white-collar worker working in the office, the successful businessmen. If you can, and Gregory Peck represented this in this movie. Certainly, people are going to buy more cars, and you can see from 1945 to 1960, 45 million cars, more cars are going to be on the road. The pink Cadillac and the Fins was very popular. The Fins were very popular during the 50s. What are we going to do with all these cars? Well, we build the Interstate Highway, or we passed the Interstate Highway Act, which is going to cost us about $32 billion and add 41,000 miles of new roads. These were freeways connecting major cities. It was sold as national defense. These freeways would help people get out of the cities in the event of a nuclear holocaust, and it would also be used for military, and these freeways could be used as landing strips, so a lot of different uses for that. And we're going to stop right here and